And good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? Hey, I am Kisa. I'm Kisa Sharp. I am the hostess of Evolve and also half of the Kisa and Joe show, which airs each and every Wednesday live. And normally we are here in the heart of the South Side at Filter Coffee Parlor Shop on Wednesdays. And we are taking an opportunity to showcase one of the South Side's great little businesses and great little coffee spots, okay? As we talk about a very serious topic. We are weeks away from an, I would say personally, an extremely important election. I would say that I'm not the only person who would say that. So, have you been keeping up with the news? Okay. We're weeks away from a presidential election. Former President Donald Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris. And listen, the most important thing that we need to say today is this is not a discussion about how you need to vote. Okay. This is a discussion about what it will involve and why there is a weightiness with this election. So, in order to do so, we're bringing on a journalist colleague of mine and also a gentleman whom I happen to work with at this particular publication, the Birmingham Times. Have you seen it in and around Birmingham? And by the way, check out that cover. Is that not gorgeous? Yeah, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So you are able to look inside for this article, Pink October, here at Filter Coffee Parlor. You can get a copy of it, and it's in and around the Magic City. So why don't we just go ahead and bring on the person who is the editor of this particular publication, one of the longest running weeklies in the country, Black newspapers, Barnett Wright. Good day.
Good afternoon. It's always good to be with you, to hear you, and to talk with you, Kisa.
Thank you so much for taking an opportunity here in Birmingham. And even though I have to say, Mr. Wright, you're not a native of Birmingham, but it is unquestionable the love, the respect, and the support that you give this community here in Birmingham. So,
Well, it's mutual, right? I am from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'm kind of reluctant to say that at this time of year. The Eagles aren't doing well. The Phillies are on a brink of elimination, so I kind of not bring that up as quickly as I did last year this time. But but it's mutual. I've received a lot of love and respect and support in Birmingham, and this is indeed my adopted home.
yes, and listen, I'm an Alabamian, I guess by birth, but I'm a transplant as well. I'm from south of the way from Montgomery, but it is still a love that I have for this community. Moving here back in 1996, we'll never forget, and really had a plan, Barnett, to make this my pass through, as they say. I was headed on, headed to another position. Like, okay, I'll work 2 years here at a television station, and I'm out after that. And came here, fell in love with the community. So from two people who are transplants here in Birmingham, we love it here, and we appreciate the love and support. And thank you, Barnett, for all that you do with the Birmingham Times and keeping us informed.
Well, thank you, but you touched on a good point. It's a great staff. I mean, your contributions. You have a article in that particular newspaper about breast cancer awareness, about
Yes.
First Lady D. Green for More Than Conquerors.
Yes.
It's a team effort. When you have people like yourself writing, our photographers, Mark
Yes.
Krosky who took the cover shot. That's a beautiful cover shot. Uh,
Yeah.
it makes my job easy. We have a great page designer. So when you have the art, we have the designers, we have the reporting. It all goes into a successful publication, and we're fortunate to have people like you and our other contributors.
Thank you so much for that. It is a joy, and you allow me to really participate, partake in one of my passions, which is writing, and just basically offering that encouragement. So, as we pivot just ever so gently, Mr. Wright, it feels a little bit weighty, in my opinion. but I know you will look at it from your long lens of journalism, and your long history in that particular field. Why does this election, presidential election of 2024, Trump versus Harris, the stage has been set, mean no disrespect, just giving their literal last names. Why does it feel so weighty for this particular election?
I think because of the issues at hand. When you look at the impact that we have, um, we don't know how many more Supreme Court justices that may be named. You want a president who's going to find the best jurist for that particular seat. That has an impact on all of us. Of course, the economy, the direction that it goes in, education, law enforcement, justice. It touches on almost every aspect of our lives. You talk about grocery prices, gas prices,
Yeah.
and Keisha, I think we have to also, at this particular time in our history, be very careful about what happens internationally, right,
Mhm.
globally, with these wars.
Yes.
And that we could possibly be drawn into conflicts that could have an adverse impact on all of us.
I mean, and if that isn't enough, for all of us to go to the polls. So I want to come directly at this idea that my vote doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who and I'm giving you ideology, comments I've heard. Doesn't matter, what my vote is not going to matter. They're all the same. And as a journalist, I know that you would have that passion for being educated and not ignoring the rhetoric, but not allowing the rhetoric to become mainstream in your conscience. So my question to you is, and I know we have these conversations kind of sideline, and we talk, we have conversations ever so often about this. I want you to encourage people who listen to you and who will listen to this broadcast in the future, in the days and weeks to come. Can you tell them the importance of being educated, not going along with mainstream rhetoric, but being educated, reading, and knowing those issues, like some of the ones that you mentioned? Please encourage them, Barnett,
Yeah.
to get the information. How would you do that?
Well, first, thanks for that question. I don't want them listening to me. I
Yes.
want them to listen to those residents who lived in Birmingham, Alabama in 1960, 1961, 62, 63, who gave their lives, who risked their lives,
Wow.
us to be able to vote. You had 11 and 12-year olds walking out of high school because they want the right to vote. So if there's any place where people should not be buying into this rhetoric about their vote not counting, it's in Birmingham, Alabama.
Whew.
With all of these resources that we have, all you have to do is just Google Children's Crusade 1963 and get a history lesson in very short order. So
Yes.
we have no business
Oh,
of
wow.
places in Birmingham talking about the right to vote. I mean, it's maddening for people to even think about that. Your vote does count, and in these close elections, now I understand that in Birmingham, Alabama, that the results of the presidential race may be a fait accompli because we're heavily over Republican state. But that
Sure.
doesn't mean you don't vote. That means you still go out there and exercise your right to vote, regardless if there's an overwhelming favorite in your state or not. And if we look at what happened 4 years ago, some of these elections were decided by 11,000, thirty
Yes.
thousand, eighty
Yes.
thousand votes. And just think if though that number of people stayed home, okay, we would have had a different outcome. So as far as encouraging people to vote, they ought to be encouraged to vote every time they go out here and walk some of the streets of Birmingham, Alabama, knowing that there were 11 and 12-year-olds who did the same thing 61, 62 years ago to give them the right to go out there and vote.
Woo. Some, in the Bible, there's a part when Jesus speaks, and when it seems almost like it wants you to just pause and think on that Selah. So I'm going to say Selah. Pause and think on that. We've got we've got a historical perspective. Barnett, I'm going to ask you: didn't you author a book talking about? Go ahead, talking about some of the
Yeah.
history.
So it was titled 1963, and it talked about how the Birmingham civil rights movement changed not just the city but the world. Because what a lot of people saw was with the focus on what happened. So that book, Keisha, it went month by month through 1963, the most pivotal year in the city's history. And it
Yes.
talked about all of the marches. It talked about school desegregation. There were a lot of things then, not just with the church bombing, 63, but with the marches, all the things that led up to it, and the aftermath of what happened, including the school desegregation. So it talked about the city strikes, change of government, right? That's when they went from a commission form of government to city council form of government. So much happened in 1963, which again is a precursor to what we're doing today. And it goes back to your initial question about why it's important to vote.
It's so much history. And to some degree, I believe, and Barnett, how did they get a copy of that, Mr. Barnett Wright? How and where did they get a copy of it?
I think it would be best to try Google,
Yes.
Amazon. I'm sorry, Amazon, to
Yes.
see if they still have it. Um,
Okay.
I know the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute had a large volume of books.
Okay.
I'm told that those books have sold out. We were trying to get a second order, and I was thinking about seeing the possibility of another updated edition, right?
Yes.
A second edition to the original. So I think Amazon would probably be the best place.
Give us the title officially.
1963: How the Birmingham Civil Rights Movement Changed America and the World.
1963. Mr. Barnett Wright, Wright is his last name. You said so much, and I could go in so many different directions. Your book is an education on that year.
Yeah,
Speaking of education, bringing us up to 2024, I know the time is draweth nigh. I know it's a short window,
right.
but what would you tell people as we move forward, getting ready for the stage to be set for this election? Because I'm an advocate of being educated, not the emotion, not the rhetoric that we're seeing out in mainstream. How would you tell them to be educated on the candidates and their issues so they know how, not only how they're voting, but what the issues are?
I think the most important thing is to do your homework, find legitimate uh, information sources, and by that, I follow the New York Times,
Mm-hmm,
Washington Post,
mm-hmm.
Associated Press. Um, I also watch a number of stations. The BBC is good, C-SPAN is good, and here's something that I say that can often be controversial. I would not discourage anybody from watching all the major networks, and that's including Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you may feel that they don't speak in your best interest, I think that you will get something on Fox that you won't get on CNBC and CNN.
Hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean you watch Fox at the expense of those other networks, but you watch all of them. Because for me, watching them, you will always see something on one you never see on the other, and something you never thought about, whether you agree or disagree with it.
Hmm.
So cast as wide a net as possible, and just be careful with some of the websites. And like I say, they're the legitimate websites that I continue to follow, and I find those to be the New York Times, Associated Press, and Washington Post to be the main ones.
I love it. You've basically just given us a short education on how we get up to date with some of these things. And as you were saying that about the fact that you don't discourage people from reading, listening to a variety of news sources, is because, as I was thinking, if you were to watch a Fox or MSNBC, you're going to get two different perspectives, but you're also going to understand what's important to that particular audience. And I think it makes for a more educated, I mean, even if you want to sit down and you're having lunch with your buddies, you're going to be more educated than just understanding your viewpoint as opposed to an opposing viewpoint. I think it makes you more well-rounded and more educated, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head, and that comes from your TV background. You have a television background, so so if you understand how it works, you're right. So you have two different point of views,
Yeah.
but at least you're getting both sides of that point of view to help you make up your mind.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
they'll come from one angle, one network, the other one will come from a different angle, but somewhere in the middle, you could probably find out what the truth is.
I love it. I love it. So as we prepare for the weeks ahead, what does it look like as we continue to prepare for leading up to the election? What do we expect? Do you believe from the candidates, or just what environment is going to be set? Do you believe?
I think the environment, the focus is going to be on the battleground states, right? The focus is going to be on Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina to a degree, Arizona, Michigan also. The focus is really, really going to be on Pennsylvania,
Hmm.
because the number of electoral college votes could make the difference in the election. So I think the focus will be on the polls in Pennsylvania. The focus will be on the rallies in Pennsylvania, and the focus will be on who can galvanize that particular vote. I've heard that Trump may be gaining an advantage over working class people in Pennsylvania, and Harris may be gaining an advantage on suburban women. So depending on where that goes, it could be a game changer. It could make a difference.
Electoral college. Can you give us a little bit of an education on the electoral college? Some people say, well, my individual vote doesn't count in that. No, but your individual vote can help undergird or influence. So, can you give us a little bit of a explainer on that?
Yeah. So these are the votes that are cast by not just the electorate, but by a certain number of people in that state who will cast their votes for the president. Usually, in most cases, that the electoral college, like you just said, goes with the popular vote.
Mm-hmm.
For example, um, in Alabama, the electoral college votes will go for the Republican. In
Right.
New York City, the electoral college votes will go for the Democrat,
Yeah.
because the popular votes there, there's no question, right? Because it's overwhelming in those two states for who the majority of the voters want to go for. So that's a determinant. Um, and I think, remember what happened the last time is that the chaos in Washington D.C. was that the president didn't want the vice president to certify those votes.
Right.
So that's what caused the particular problem. So that's the difference. But I think you can negate that
Yeah.
if an overwhelming number of people who vote for their particular candidate, right? And it takes the hand out of the electoral college,
Thank you.
because they're not going to go against the number of voters cast in a heavily majority Democratic state, where all the results go for, or the majority of the votes go for a Democrat.
So, in other words, what he's saying, Barnett, I label myself as kind of like the chick who likes to break everything down. Maybe that's part of my news business. So, in other words, what he's saying is your vote counts. What Kisa is saying, your vote counts. The most important thing is to vote and to get educated. And also, let me say this, in the weeks leading up to, there is still time. I've been encouraging people too, Barnett, to make sure that they know where they're voting. Let's not wait until the day before or to that morning to to be like, okay, well, I think I'm voting here, or last time I checked. If there is a question, like, this is the time to go ahead and shore that up. We don't need to be waiting. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying with that?
That is correct, and you keep talking about the importance of voting, and I do have that book you talked about right here.
Oh,
So
yay!
this is the vote. This is 1963. What happened?
Yes.
So you see the marches, right? You see how important it was to march,
Yes.
and this is what the book is talking about. The
Yes.
book is talking about how the residents and citizens of Birmingham that they what they did what they did to vote. And if you see here, here's a police officer preventing them from marching. That's why they got down on their knees. Non-violent, non-violent. You didn't have an insurrection. You didn't have people storming City Hall or the courthouse.
Yeah.
It was peaceful demonstrations which were effective. But to get to your question, yes, you have to prepare ahead of time, and you can call the Jefferson County Board of Registrars
Yes.
if you don't know where you're voting, that they will help you find where your voting location is. And that's down at the county courthouse, the Board of Registrars. They're very accessible, they're very open. You can get them online. And I also think that the Secretary of State may also have a website where you can enter your address, your name and your address, and um, ask for my voting location. And so you have the Board of Registrars, Secretary of State, and they will help you find where you are supposed to be voting on election day.
The only thing I know is that when I see those images, I still understand it. And Barnett, I like to multitask, so you see me doing typing a little bit down here as well. Because I wanted to make sure to get that information on the screen that you're showing, because that's great information. We have a responsibility. Neither of us who are of voting age and are of mature age have a right to allow the price that our ancestors paid to go to waste. Not telling you how to vote. I keep emphasizing that. I can, if you want to come talk to me personally, and I'm sure if you want to talk to Barnett personally, he's got some things he can share. But we're not telling you how, but we are saying it is still critical when you see that image that he showed. 60 plus, a little over 60 years removed. Thank you for putting that back up. A little over 60 years removed. This is the price that our ancestors paid. This is what they had to do to have their voice, to have their conscience, to have their thought process even be recognized across the country. How dare you? How dare I allow that to go to waste?
Right.
The
And
book, go ahead.
not to cut you off, but you're
Oh,
right. I'm going to echo that because you're right, because it's easy. There's no excuse. There's a thing, and I looked it up here, polling place search, and it
say that
says
again.
find your polling
Oh, place search.
right. Okay, it's on the Secretary of State's website,
Okay.
and there's a hold on.
Mm-hmm.
The web address is at the bottom,
Uh-huh.
and the so it's myinfo dot hold on for a second. I'm checking this.
You're fine. I'm
I just want
actually looking it up.
okay.
Okay, I'm on the Secretary of State's website. I
Okay.
see voting in Alabama.
Yeah, it's my info dot alabamavotes.gov. Right.
myinfo.alabama votes.
Right. My info dot alabamavotes.gov.
Boom. I got it.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm actually going to put it on the screen so they're
Perfect.
able to see.
Perfect. You do
because
multitask, and this is very helpful information.
so I this is like a, what's the word for me? This is so novel to me. And so I really enjoy doing this because maybe it's part of the reporter background, maybe.
Oh, I
But there
love
you
that.
go.
Look at that. I didn't mean to, look at that. That's wonderful.
The
It's
the
all
magic
there.
the magic of StreamYard. He gave you the information.
Yes.
myinfo.alabamavotes.gov. I'm actually going to type that in and put that on the screen as well. Barnett, my friend, closing thoughts, closing words. I'm actually going to put the address down on the screen as well, so they're
Okay.
able to see that. Closing thoughts, closing words on this
Yeah.
election.
So first, I just want to thank my able helpmeet for helping me find some of these websites. So that's much appreciated. I I want to say this, Keisha.
Yes.
What you're doing is so important.
Mm,
You are taking time out. You are using your platform
mm,
to educate our community
mm.
and helping them do something that can have a positive impact on all of us.
Yes.
And this says a lot about what we need in our community, in our residences, for how we can be a better people and get more stuff from what we need. So my
Mm.
closing thoughts is to say thank you to you. And,
Wow.
and for people to take to heart the time you have spent to share these links, to share my book, to share your words of wisdom in order to make us all better in the long run. So I want to thank you. That's my closing thought.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that. I had a friend, I thank you for acknowledging it. I had a friend days ago challenged me on this and said, you have a platform, you are clearly sharing information that people can use. This can be one of the most pivotal, in our opinion, is the most pivotal. They're in their 60s, one of the most pivotal elections of our generation. Why not utilize that to be of service and to help someone? I took that personally. There are things I could come on here and talk about and do. I love entertainment. I mean, I love that aspect. But at the end of the day, this has to be about helping someone. This has to be about people understanding the gravity of it. And in fact, I'm really going to commit to doing this up until the election
Mm,
because these conversations need to be had, not just entertainment, but education. And if you challenge, and I'm of this ideology, if I challenge you to do better, I can't make you, but at least I can stir up a desire or burn something in your consciousness to think about it. Can't make you do anything. But I also believe that I have this obligation. So thank you for joining me in my harebrained idea.
it was a great idea. And if there's anything that we can do at the Birmingham Times to help you amplify your message, your efforts, you just let me know.
Thank you so much. And don't challenge, don't put that out there if you don't mean it, because I may be calling on you again. Here's the latest edition of it, Birmingham Times. They actually have a new edition coming out tomorrow, right?
We do have a new edition coming out tomorrow, and I'm going to give your audience a sneak peek. We have featured Andre Holland, who was from Bessemer. And
Okay.
he has a new movie coming out. He's a local young man who has done good. His mom, they're doing some great work out in Bessemer with the former Lincoln Theater. So this don't let anybody know. Y'all the first ones to know. I want that reader to be surprised when it comes out tomorrow.
So you get all types of good stuff on this channel, okay? Get sneak peeks,
Right.
previews. Barnett, it is always a pleasure. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to
Okay.
just tell you now, I'm likely going to be knocking on your door again and asking for another 15, 20 minutes. You know how it works now. You've got your lighting looking all good in the front. So see you. So look, see, no excuses on this now.
Well, I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And this is very, very important. And like you said, as we get closer,
Yeah.
so I'm available to have these conversations. I'm glad the link is there. I'm glad you shared your wisdom too, because you have a lot of insight on how the media works too.
Yeah.
And I think the more we share, the more people can learn. Because I've learned things also too from talking to you, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. When Barnett and I have those conversations, we go there.
Yeah,
Okay, we go there. I thank you so much. I know you have some other things to do as it relates to getting out some news to us with the Birmingham Times. We appreciate you, and we will be talking soon. Okay,
I
you
look
have an
forward.
open invitation.
Thank you. I look forward to it, and thank you for having me. It's always great to see you.
Same.
Okay,
Bye, Mr.
take care.
Barnett Wright. Okay, bye bye. I know you have some work to do. We'll talk to
Okay,
you
bye.
soon.
Thank
Bye bye. So that's Mr. Barnett Wright, you all. He is the man behind publishing the Birmingham Times. And let me just tell you, it's a feat. Let me tell you, it's a feat to be able to do that and to get and to make deadline and to be able to get that publication out each and every week, continuing on the legacy of the incomparable Dr. Jesse Lewis. But they do so efficiently there at the Birmingham Times. So it is a pleasure to be a contributor. You've got the likes of Sim Posey, who's one of the contributors there. You've got the likes of Mr. Martin, who's the publisher, Sam Martin, and of course Mr. Barnett Wright, who just left us. He's got some things to do to get ready though to get the edition out. Thank you for this time. Here's what you do to help us. Okay, when you like, you comment and share the broadcast, it gives us an opportunity to get the information out to more people. So my encouragement to you today is to like and share the broadcast. My encouragement also to you today is to be informed. My encouragement to you today is to go and make sure that you're registered to vote. My encouragement to you today is to make sure that not only you make sure that you're good, but that you extend the generosity and the information outward. Check on your folks. Make sure that they're going to vote. Make sure you at least encourage it. You can't make adults do anything, but you sure can have that conversation. You can sure encourage them. You can sure open a stream of consciousness that may not otherwise be there. It is our responsibility. It is our time. For those of you who are in the 50 and Fabulous Club, and either before or after, doesn't matter. It is our time to be heard. It is our time to make a difference. I'm Keisha Sharp, also known as Coach K, doing a little bit of a diversion from our usual information, talking about something very serious, the elections, okay? And also want to make sure that I'm able to share that website again. You see it running on the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Okay. That is myinfo.alabamavotes.gov. Joining you here live today from Filter Coffee Parlor. They are wonderful partners in what we do here on our podcasts, whether it's Keisha and Joe, whether it's Evolve, or just any project that we want to partake. They are our partners. They willingly open up our space. So I ask you to come in and support them on Birmingham's South Side. Great experience coming down here to be able to read and do some other things or get some work done or just grab you a wonderful cup of coffee. Filter Coffee Parlor on the South Side. You can see all of the goodness behind me as well. So it's an opportunity to support your local shop and get you a great cup of coffee. Okay. So they are my restaurant of choice. And in spite of some of the things that we've seen here in the South Side, heart still goes out to the victims of that deadly shooting here on the South Side, which happened literally steps away from where I sit right here. My heart still goes out to the families, still praying for a resolution to that case, speedy resolution in the name of Jesus. But there are some good things that are happening here in Birmingham. We're not going to let a negative event, one negative event, 2, 3, 4, or 50 deter us. Okay? it's cool to be in Birmingham. It is my city, and I'm going to put on for my city. I'm Kisa, Coach K, wrapping up. Thank you so much for your support. And remember, you support us by liking, sharing, and also commenting on the broadcast. Go vote, but first, make sure you are registered. Have a super fantastic day, y'all. I am going to see you at another time. All right. I'll see you later. Thank you for tuning in.